Good evening, Hatters, our New York area Hatters. We're excited to be here this evening with you. Thank you for joining the Stetson Alumni Office as we host this series of virtual meet and greets to introduce Dr. Rolke to our Hatter alumni and parents. I'm Rebecca Thomas, Director of Alumni and Parent Engagement, and it's my pleasure to be here with you and our panelists this evening. We're still waiting for a few folks to join in, so as we wait for everyone to connect, we'd love to do a few polls and questions to kind of get to know our audience a little better as we enter into the evening. So we're going to toss a poll up on the screen. If you don't mind taking a minute to fill in with your response. So Hatter alumni, which college or school did you graduate out of? And if you're a Hatter parent, which college or school will your child graduate out of? So we have College of Law, College of Arts and Sciences, School of Business, and School of Music. So we'll give you all a minute or so to fill this in as we wait for the rest of our attendees to join us this evening. Great, so we're going to pop up on the screen our results and see who's joining us this evening. Okay, well, we're pretty well represented. College of Law, Arts and Science, School of Business. Oh gosh, hopefully our School of Music folks will be joining us shortly. While we wait for a few more attendees, we'll do another fun question. So Hatter alumni, give a shout out to your graduating class year in the questions box, which can be found in your control panel. And if you're a Hatter parent, you can join in too. Just share your child's graduating class year. I'm excited to see who we have tonight. And this will be the question box that you'll leverage throughout the evening. If you do have questions or comments, we'll do a little Q&A at the end with Dr. Rolke, and this will be the same questions box that you'll submit those through. Great, so we have 2009 grad, class of 88 and 75, great. Thank you for joining us. Excited that you're here. Oh, class of 68. Wonderful. We'll give you guys a few more seconds to fill it in. See who else we have tonight. Okay, class of 2004. Thank you for joining us. Great, well, thanks for participating there. And that is the question box that you can leverage later in the evening. So thank you again for taking a minute to share a little bit about yourselves. We certainly appreciate getting to know all our alumni, so we can cruise into our night now. So I'd like to take a minute and introduce our panelists for the evening. We have with us Dean Michelle Alexandre from Stetson University's College of Law, Ronell Mason Tinsley, class of 2000 and current alumni board president. Rena Tovar Arroyo, VP of Development and Parent Initiatives. And of course, please join us in giving a warm Hatter welcome to Dr. Christopher F. Rolke, PhD, who became Stetson's 10th president on July 1st, 2020.
Rebecca, thank you very much. And my sincere thank you to our Hatter alums out there, our Hatter parents, Hatter friends. Thank you for taking time out of what I'm sure is a busy schedule for all of you to do this very informal, but we hope enjoyable meet and greet. As Rebecca indicated, I've been here in DeLand since about June 15th because I needed to quarantine for 2 weeks before I actually assumed the presidency on July 1st. I came from where you are now, which is New York. I spent the last 21 years of my career at Vassar College in Poughkeepsie, New York. My wife, Kim, is actually from New York City. I have 3
Dr.
children.
Olkey, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think your video, we aren't able to see you. There we go.
Can you see me now?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry for our technological difficulties. I know all of us have gotten used to some of those during this period of Zoom, Microsoft Meeting, Blue Jeans, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I'm very happy to be here. And I wanted to thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to meet with us. I'm going to be very brief right now because I'm going to turn things over to Dean Alexandre in just a second. But I mostly wanted to express my gratitude for this opportunity. As I said to the Stetson University community when I was announced to the community back in November, this is indeed the greatest honor and privilege of my professional life to be serving as your 10th president. So I look forward to making further remarks to let you know how things are going here on campus. And Dean Alexandre is here to tell us about the College of Law. And without further ado, I'll turn it to my colleague, Dean Alexandre, who has been a superb shepherd, not only of the College of Law, but has been a tremendous colleague for me during my transition here as Stetson's 10th president. She's fully invested not only at the College of Law, but at Stetson University more broadly. So Dean Alexandre, thank you so very much and welcome.
Thank you, President Wilkie, and thank you. You have hit the ground running, and it's been a pleasure. And I know all of my colleagues share our enthusiasm with your leadership and all you've been able to accomplish, really leading the university to stability in very, very interesting times, we will say, in higher education. Today, I would like to give a huge shout out to New York, because that's my hometown. So hi, New York, how are you? I haven't seen you since March, and I haven't been home since March. So I'm missing you. I miss having all of the live engagement. And so the next opportunity we get to be face to face, I will both visit you and my family. So it'll be a joy, a double joy. I'd like to give you a brief update about the College of Law. There are so much good things happening thanks to our great team. First, we welcome new faculty. Professor Roy Balesti is now the director at the Law Library. Professor Elizabeth Bowles, who comes from American and is well renowned, she's now our new director of advocacy. And Professor Alicia Jackson took the helm of the Bar Prep office. All of them are great faculty members on the tenure track. So we have double whammy of having not only having them be administrators, but also fully engaged faculty members in scholarship service and teaching. In addition to that, you may have seen our description of our plans to the fall. We are fully running on all campuses with our partners in the land. We are offering at the College of Law a very intense experience to the first year, as usual. If you remember, first year law school is one for the books. And we have 75% of our first years taking in-person classes. In addition to that, we offer remote, flex, hybrid, and some version of in-person for upper class students as well. We created this last year a business concentration. I'm very excited about that because we have a wealth of experience in Tampa Bay and nationally in business law, and our students they've been yearning for more business law experience. So with that business law concentration, they'll be able to compete with other law schools in things like securities, IP law, copyright law, sports law, in addition to really forging new grounds in cybersecurity, etc. So this is one of the joy of being here, is the kind of innovation that our faculty, student, staff, and alum possess. Additionally, as you have heard, we issued a letter recently, thanks to the generosity of our Board of Trustees member, Lila Jaber, and our former chair of the Board of Overseers, Ria Law, who both joined me in a letter really calling for action in supporting our 2020 graduates. As you know, nationally, the bar exam has been delayed for many. In Florida, it's been delayed until October, which has put our student in a standstill and a sort of need for support. Luckily, the Supreme Court issued a temporary supervision order that allows our students to practice well into whatever uncertainty may arise from the pandemic. And this is where we need help. We need all alums, all legal profession members to join in and support our 2020 graduate. As you know, a Stetson College of Law degree gets them ready for practice from day one. I know this because you've told me. So give them a chance, or if you hear of anyone looking, please reach out to us. We have the form ready. Additionally, we are raising funds for the second phase of the student emergency so that we can help continue to support them. We are supporting 5 classes of students. That includes our graduates, 2020 graduates. We are honored to be able to do it. We hear from many other law students and graduates and schools that they cannot issue funding to their graduates. So this is, again, the unique thing about Stetson College of Law. As President Roelke has said, we are scrappy. I am proud of that term. So we create opportunities where there may not seem to be none, but we innovate. And so I am thankful for your continued support and collaboration in that. And so this is tonight is all about President Roelke, and I can't wait to hear your our conversation with him. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Rebecca Thomas.
Thank you, Dean Alexandre. So I hope to have the opportunity to meet and interact with many of you all in person this fall, but alas, COVID. So with our safe social distancing parameters in place, our office launched a series of alumni digital events and programs to help keep our Hatter alumni and parents engaged and connected. So you may have seen some of these emails going out. These initiatives give you easy access to resources so you can learn and discover, and ways for you to connect and engage with one another and the students on our campus. Also, we have opportunities for you to help and support current students. So our alumni office is still here to support you. Even though we're not able to be there in person doing events, we are an open door, so an open virtual door at the moment. And your Stetson Hatter network is nearly 42,000 alumni strong. So don't be afraid to reach out to us to get connected. So with that, I'm going to turn into just a couple of the upcoming programs and events we have going on to make sure you know how you can get involved. So the first big one we have coming up is virtual homecoming. Traditionally, we have homecoming every first weekend or so in November. So it will take place again the 6th through the 8th there. We'll have some activities which include a dean's panel, academic and multicultural, athletic and social virtual workshops. So a lot of different things happening. We'll of course still have time for you to reminisce with old friends. And if your class year ends in a 0 or a 5, we're going to be celebrating you this year with your virtual class reunion. So make sure to register at the end of the month if you are there. You should have also received an email to sign up and be a class lead. So if that's something you're interested in, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We do have a really fun kickoff party happening Thursday, November 5th to launch us into the weekend. So be on the lookout for that. More event information will be shared at the end of the month. From there, we have some regional events that are happening. Of course, these are virtual. So these events are happening in correlation and with our Facebook Live and other general events we have happening. But our office partners with our alumni board members to host these across the country. So these events give you all and Hatter parents opportunity to participate in speed networking, trivia nights, fundraising, or other academic-based programs. So we do promote these events every Sunday on our social accounts. So if you're not following our channels, we dropped just now in the questions box our Instagram handle and our Facebook, so you can go ahead and give us a follow there. If you're looking for a program or activity that gets you connected with students, Webinar Wednesdays is for you. This is a chance for you to get involved and give back to our student population and our most recent graduates. So it's geared to helping that population really navigate adulthood and the workplace. So maybe your first job or looking for your first internship, these programs are really for that. And again, these are virtual events. So if you're interested in hosting a workshop for students that's maybe industry, career, or lifestyle specific, you can go ahead and connect with us and present on that for about an hour and engage with some of our students who may be interested in a particular topic. Some examples are side hustles, entrepreneurship, freelancing, or life as a digital nomad. Our next program I'd like to share is Leadership Stetson. This generally takes place January, so I know that seems far out, but we also might be excited to make it to 2021. So I wanted to get this one on your radar. So this program is really designed for us to get alumni and parents engaged with Stetson at a higher level. So if you're interested in understanding a little more in-depthly the university, its focus areas and the direction we're heading, this is a chance for you to hear from the Dean's Panel and university administrators and participate in discussions around the direction the university is headed. From there, you also get a chance to network with fellow alumni and see where it takes you post that, which could lead you right into our Stetson University Alumni Board. So if Leadership Stetson wasn't enough for you, you just can't get enough of Stetson and giving back to your Hatter community, we do have an alumni board. The alumni board is comprised of members who represent various class years, majors, backgrounds, professions, and geographic areas. So don't think just because you're up in New York that you can't be a part of this board. It's for Hatters across the country. So our mission there is to really promote and develop enduring relationships between alumni and the university, while we're also work to foster loyalty and philanthropic support. So you'll actually get a chance to hear from our current alumni board president, Renelle Tinsley Mason, later this evening. So she'll be able to share a little bit more. So with that, I'm going to wrap up my section with a poll. So we always try to collect alumni and parent feedback on interests and how they'd like to get involved. So if you don't mind taking a minute to just let us know which programs you are most interested in. So we have virtual homecoming, regional and virtual events, Webinar Wednesdays, which is our student-focused program, Leadership Stetson, and then we have our alumni board. So we'll leave that up here for a few seconds, and we do appreciate you taking the time to give us that feedback. It really helps us in guiding the direction we go when hosting events, so thank you. Great, so thank you so much for taking the poll and providing us with your feedback. We've also launched a redesigned alumni and parent website, so feel free to jump on there and navigate around. There's a lot of fun things you can learn and ways to stay connected, so I do encourage you to jump on there. We'll go ahead and put the URL in the questions box now, so if you'd like to click on that and check it out later, that would be great. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our current alumni board president, Renelle Tinsley Mason, class of 2000.
And hopefully everybody can hear me. Great, thank you. Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you for all that have joined us this evening to make it a special occasion. Hope everyone's well and staying safe. As Rebecca said, I'm Renelle Tinsley Mason, the current president of the Stetson Alumni Board. A little bit about myself. I graduated from Stetson in 2000 with a degree in marketing and management. While at Stetson, I was actively involved in the dance team Synchronicity, the Student Alumni Association, or also SAA, and I worked in the president's office as a student assistant. Currently, I'm a certified paralegal and the senior corporate compliance paralegal for Masonite International Corporation in Tampa, Florida. Serving as the president of the Stetson University Alumni Board, It's been an honor, and I'm continuously humbled at the dedication of the many volunteers who spend an incredible amount of time lending their talents and treasures towards helping to make our Stetson a better place each and every day. Becoming president of the Alumni Board is truly one of the highlights of my life, and I'm honored to be able to serve in such capacity for my alma mater. Many wonder what the Alumni Board does. Well, this year, the Alumni Board and the Alumni Office have been diligently working to revamp the board bylaws to guide us in a direction to help the university further its mission. Through this, we have refocused the work of the Alumni Board to drive tangible outcomes of the offices of alumni and development to align with the university priorities. In addition to creating clear direction through the new bylaws, we have provided a more structure through member selection and identifying the responsibilities of our members. The board committees have also been redefined, to drive focus areas such as fundraising, engagement, and serving a diverse body of alumni. With that, we have also added a multicultural committee and chair. We're very excited about this. All this work is in partnership with the Alumni Office and staff. We as board members work to promote and develop enduring relationships between alumni and the university while fostering loyalty and philanthropic support. Our members host regional events, such as the ones that Rebecca just covered off, across the country to develop a sense of community and foster a pride for our alma mater that further enhances the university's reputation. We hope that with each event, we engage alumni to nurture a spirit of service, loyalty, and engagement to Stetson and provide philanthropic support as advocates for the university. We also work to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments and achievements of our alumni. Maybe you're content with your level of engagement to the university, but if you're not, maybe you're looking for an opportunity to get further involved, and now's your chance. Feel free to reach out to the Alumni Office or myself directly to get connected. We'd love to have you at Leadership Stetson and possibly as a board member. Thank you for your time this evening, and go Hatters. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Rena Tovar Arroyo, Assistant Vice President of Development for Parent and Alumni Engagement. Thank you all.
Thank you, Raynell, and thank you for your leadership. It's greatly appreciated. Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be with you here tonight as you get to experience firsthand the dynamic leadership of Dr. Roelke. I'm also excited to share with you some really great news as it relates to our recent fundraising success. Roughly this time last year, we were celebrating the completion of our 7-year Beyond Success to Significance campaign. We raised over $218 million, and this vastly exceeded our $200 million goal. Now that is something to celebrate. I'll mention just a few highlights which our generous donors helped us to accomplish and show some pictures for you. During the campaign, we received the single largest gift in Stetson history, an $18 million gift for our new CC and Hyatt Brown Hall for Health and Innovation. These are just a couple of renderings here below of the new building that will sit adjacent to Sage Hall. We also endowed the Edmonds Scholarship Program, our very prestigious full-ride academic scholarship. More students were able to benefit from international study programs on both campuses, and we dedicated the David and Leanne Rinker Center for International Learning. Student research, writing, and academic success were enhanced through the Hollis Family Student Success Center, located on the 2nd floor of our amazing library. We renovated the Tinsley Room of Presser Hall in our School of Music. We also endowed the Templeton Business Ethics Competition, and we created the Centurion Sales Excellence Program, both within the School of Business Administration. The Veterans Law Clinic was created, as were more externship experiences for our law students. And very generous donors endowed our joint College of Law and undergraduate civil rights travel course, where students actually get to meet and walk in the footsteps of the Freedom Riders, true heroes. And the Marshall and Vera Lee Rinker Welcome Center now proudly welcomes prospective students and their families to campus. The Carleton Union building was beautifully renovated and expanded by 40%. I personally think the Cub is a wonderful example of blending architectural history with the modern design to meet the needs of today's students. And I'm also very proud that we enhanced Jewish life on campus, dedicating the newly remodeled Jeffrey and Diane Ginsburg Hillel House. The new Sandra Stetson Aquatic Center, made possible by John B. Stetson's granddaughter, is the home to our Institute for Water and Environmental Resilience, as well as our terrific men's and women's rowing teams. You'll see here in this campaign, $18.8 million was raised to support Stetson athletics, including the new athletic training center and the addition of beach volleyball, lacrosse, and the return of Hatter football. And finally, over the past several months, we have asked the Hatter Nation to support our students most affected by the pandemic. And oh my goodness, the overwhelming care and concern that you have demonstrated is truly humbling. Between the Joint and DeLand campuses, we have raised over $644,000 in a few short months to assist these students. Please know you have our deepest gratitude. These are all tremendous examples of the generosity that support Stetson's mission and help our students to reach their full potential. We would not be the university we are today without the support of all of you. Thank you. And as we look beyond the challenges of 2020, we know affordability and access will be top of mind for many of our students and families. So we hope you will continue supporting student scholarships as well as the Stetson Fund. And please, if you're able, consider another gift to the COVID emergency funds. As Dean Alexandre mentioned, the needs of our students continue to grow as the pandemic continues. We also hope some of you will consider establishing your own endowed fund. These types of funds truly leave your legacy at Stetson, while also helping the university remain successful and significant for the next 137 years. Thank you again for your continued support. It is so deeply appreciated. We look forward to seeing you again very soon in person. And now I'm thrilled to turn it back over to Dr. Roelke.
Rena, thank you very, very much. Appreciate your presentation, and many thanks to my colleagues and friends who presented before me. As I indicated, I do want to keep my remarks relatively brief because I have found that these meet and greets, the part that's probably the most fun is the Q&A. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of time for you to ask questions, and I'll try to provide as candid answers as I can. So I encourage you to, in the question box, please feel free to raise questions. I do want to talk a bit about the Stetson community. Needless to say, one of the things that really appealed to me about coming to Stetson University was the very palpable sense that I had that there was a really strong community, not only here in DeLand, but certainly also in Gulfport and our Tampa Law Center. That feeling that I had throughout the presidential search process has absolutely been reaffirmed during my short time so far in DeLand as a new resident of Volusia County. Certainly it was a transition that I don't think anyone would have anticipated when I was announced as the 10th president back in November of 2019. This has been what I've been describing on campus and elsewhere as a once in a century set of challenges. Having said that, those challenges, there's no better place to be than in higher education and no better place to be than at Stetson University. And the reason I say that is because, in fact, of the words that are on the screen, the community. When the chips are down, Hatter community steps up. When things are challenging, people think innovatively, collaboratively, and they roll up their sleeves and they figure out ways to make it work. And I have been so incredibly impressed, and again, the very few short months that I've been here, in that spirit of collaboration. I've also been really impressed with the city of DeLand. I've yet to be able to spend some time yet because of the pandemic in Gulfport, but I hope to make a visit there next month. But when I arrived in DeLand on June 15th, there was an enormous banner on North Woodland Boulevard as you entered downtown DeLand, welcoming me to campus with a big picture of myself. And I never thought that I would ever see myself on a banner in a downtown celebration like that. So it was really quite touching. I was really impressed with the warm welcome I have received, et cetera. So I do want to talk a little bit about this once in a century set of challenges, and most certainly the COVID-19 pandemic has been a huge part of that. I'd like to reiterate what was said earlier, which I hope that this webinar finds you and your family staying safe and well during what is an unprecedented context. I will say this, that although I was not officially becoming the president until July 1st, 2020, I did have the privilege of, while still living in New York, being deeply engaged with the senior leadership team at Stetson, thanks to the generosity of President Emerita Wendy Libby. So since February, I've been deeply engaged with the Stetson leadership team, with faculty, with students, as we try to prepare not only to get through the spring 2020 semester, but also to prepare very assertively for the fall 2020 semester. So although it was an odd transition in that way, and that I was going right to work in February when I wasn't expected to start until July 1st, I found that to be very, very valuable experience. Again, Wendy and the senior team was very generous to allow me to be part of the decision making again, we prepared for a successful close to the spring semester and a successful start to the fall semester, which I'd like to talk about next. So I think we made a number of very critical decisions in order to enable a Stetson education to move forward this fall, despite the global pandemic. The first and foremost, we decided to think about three important driving themes for not only this semester, but frankly for the whole 2021 academic year. And those three themes are kindness, empathy, and agency. We believe so strongly that when, again, going gets tough, kindness can go an awful long way to carrying a community through. And I've been known in the press to say that we need to make this kindness as contagious as the virus. I'm pleased to report that that certainly has been the case thus far at Stetson. It seems to have be resonating with the community. I'm seeing lots and lots of acts of kindness all around the place, and certainly empathy for those that may be going through an even more difficult time than on the surface it may appear. Certainly, this pandemic has had differential impact on different members of our community, and we certainly want to express empathy throughout. And the final part was agency, and I think we made, again, a very important decision to enable our incoming students, our returning students, as well as our faculty and our staff, to the extent we could, provide them with agency on how they were going to get their work completed. This was out of respect for the fact that there were differential impacts of this pandemic and are differential impacts of this pandemic on members of our community. So if students did not feel comfortable traveling to DeLand, which at the time when we were beginning the fall 2020 semester was absolutely the epicenter in the United States of this pandemic, we wanted to give them the opportunity to study virtually. We also wanted to give our faculty the opportunity to teach their courses either virtually or in person. Some courses really did need to be taught face-to-face despite the pandemic, and we did all sorts of mitigation measures to make sure that that could be done safely. And roughly this semester, we have about 56% of our classes that are being conducted virtually and about 44% that are in face-to-face or hybrid format. So I think those three themes have carried us well so far. I certainly hope we can continue those themes as we move forward. But needless to say, this has been absolutely a challenging semester on so many different fronts, because you have a global pandemic that's coupled with all sorts of challenges right now, for example, with wildfires raging across the West. We've got racial unrest throughout the country. There are all sorts of different issues that we're confronting all at the same time. And again, I'd like to reiterate that I think there's no better place to be than in an institution of higher education, and specifically Stetson, because you're around an awful lot of smart people, caring people, people that want to make the world a better place. And so it's a very energizing community. It certainly has been for me, for certain. With regard to racial justice, we are this week, in fact, tomorrow, going to be releasing in a webinar our early results of our second iteration of a campus climate survey. The first survey iteration was in 2016. This was just recently completed, and we're going to be releasing those results to the community this week. And it's really only the start of many, many conversations we're going to have about making our community as inclusive, respectful, and mutually beneficial as possible. For those that are not aware, I spent, again, the last 21 years at Vassar, where we underwent our most dramatic demographic shift in the institution's history, other than when we went coeducational in 1969. So I'm eager to take what I've learned at Vassar and again, out of full respect for the culture that's here at Stetson, try to bring my knowledge to the forefront in terms of sharing whatever I've learned in terms of trying to promote inclusion and diversity on Stetson's campuses. Again, among the challenges, needless to say, has been the budget. So this was an interesting way to start as a new president, but we needed to cut a little over $16 million from our projected budget in anticipation of what we would need to spend, both in terms of mitigation of the transmission of the virus, in terms of cleaning our classrooms, providing technology for faculty to teach their courses virtually, enhanced testing, et cetera. But we're also anticipating revenue shortfalls, but these revenue shortfalls were done for good reason. I'll give you an example. We made a critical decision to allow for single occupancy in the residence halls this fall. Why? Because again, when students were returning, Florida was in fact the epicenter of the virus of COVID-19, and we felt it was much more appropriate to have single occupancy, because if someone did test positive, if a student tested positive, we would have the ability to isolate them in their room in a single occupancy format, provide them with food, provide them with the things they need to do to continue their education. And that has proven to be a very judicious decision, even though that cost us about $4 million in revenue in order to be able to accomplish that. I'm also delighted to let you know, those that are on this call, that when we went to single occupancy, we were wondering whether or not we'd even be able to fill all the rooms, given the fact that again, Florida was the epicenter of the pandemic at that time. Well, it turns out that we had a waiting list over 300 students long who wanted to be on campus, despite the fact that Florida was the epicenter of the pandemic. To me, that speaks volumes to the value of a Stetson education and to the residential components of a Stetson education. So we, again, in true Hatter fashion, we figured out a way to negotiate hotel rooms, single hotel rooms for students that wanted to come to campus and needed to be on campus. And so we made that happen. But that also required a financial investment on the part of the university. So make a long story short, it has been in fact very, very challenging. I think we've made some good decisions. It has been inherently imperfect. We are learning as we go. And I think many of our peer institutions are doing the same thing, but I'm so delighted that Stetson thus far, and I don't want to count our chickens before they're hatched, but so far we've been able to mitigate the transmission of the virus. We currently on the DeLand campus have just 2 active cases where those students are recuperating in isolation, and we've seen a precipitous decline in the transmission rate after an early spike when students first returned to campus. It really is a positive story to tell, and I'm exceptionally proud and exceptionally grateful to all the staff, all the faculty, all the members of the administration, our alumni, the board of trustees, all of the Stetson friends that have made this possible. I'm profoundly grateful for that. The last slide I think I want to share with you is 2021 and also thinking about what future opportunities might present themselves. I'm going to try to keep this simple. Our goals for 2021 are to be kind, empathic, and to provide agency to those members of our community and try to provide the very best Stetson education we can, despite the aforementioned challenges that are on our plate. That may seem overly simplistic, but I think it's fully appropriate. This isn't, in fact, a once in a century set of challenges, and we need to prioritize what is most important to this community, and that is to keep us healthy, and that is to keep us safe, and that is to move a Stetson education forward. So that really simplistically are our priorities for 2021. That does not mean that we're sitting still. We still have work to do in philanthropy. We still have a reaccreditation from the Southern Association that is ongoing. We, as I said, mentioned earlier, we have a campus climate survey that's about to be released. The work is ongoing, but I just wanted to assure you that I think we've got our priorities in the right place, which is to focus on health, safety, and promoting the very best of a Stetson education. I think we are now at about 6:40, so right on time. I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Rebecca Thomas, who's going to serve as our moderator for the Q&A section of our evening. Thank you for listening to me. This is the part I really look forward to.
Great. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Rolke. We do have a Q&A portion now. So the question box that you used at the beginning of the program is where you can submit questions you have to ask Dr. Rolke. And we do have a few that have already came in. So I'm going to go ahead and start asking those, and we'll go from there. So the first question that's came in this evening is, what measurable strategic outcomes will your senior leadership team focus on in the next 3 years?
Sure. It's a very fair question, and I'm not going to shy away from answering it. Although I will say this, is that I believe our strategic objectives moving forward, even in the next 3 years, are best designed collaboratively and not by a single appointed leader. Having said that, we do want to have some measurable outcomes, so I'll give you a few. One is that our annual giving rate for the Stetson Fund is actually a lot lower than our peers. In fact, we are at the bottom third of our peers in the annual giving rate, hovering right around 6-7%. And believe it or not, part of our rankings, I know some people pay attention to rankings. One part of that methodology is in fact our annual giving rate. So Stetson has heretofore, I think, relied very, very heavily on a small number of donors who have given very, very generously, and we need to expand that pool. So here I am explicitly asking for your help. Every time I interact with you, it's really good to get to know you in this first year, but I'm also not going to be shy about asking for your support. So we do need to improve our annual giving rate. Stetson has struggled a bit, frankly, in terms of its retention of students. In other words, ability to have students in between 4 and 6 years graduate from Stetson. So there could be all sorts of reasons why that retention rate is lower than we would hope for, but it hovers right now around 77%. I'm coming from an institution where we've been fortunate enough to have a retention rate in the mid-90s. Again, we're fortunate. We were fortunate at Vassar to have such a high retention rate. So one of our measurable goals is to try to inch that retention rate forward. That certainly has been complicated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Why? Because some students may choose to continue their education closer to home for a bit. Their family members may have experienced some joblessness and may need to do something that's a little less expensive than a Stetson education to begin with. So we'd like to see ourselves, despite those challenges, inch our retention numbers a bit higher. I'd also like to say that, I think that after coming off of a campaign, a very successful campaign that you heard about just a few moments ago, in fact, one that exceeded its $200 million goal to reach $218 million. Well, when you're not in a campaign, it's actually quite important that you really be steadfast in your commitment to the Stetson Fund, because we are not in the middle of a campaign. We'll certainly be gearing up for the next one, but we have increased our annual fund goal from roughly a cumulative $2.8 million between the College of Law and the DeLand campus to $4 million. Well, how are we going to get that to happen? Well, part of it is going to happen through events like this where we make the call. The other is to try to create some new friends to the university. Part of that, frankly, is trying to take advantage of my presidential transition, which is, again, going to be a finite transition. Soon, the honeymoon phase will be over and we got to get to work. And so we want to take advantage of my arrival on campus to introduce me to some new friends of the university. So I hope those are just a few small, tangible, measurable things that we're working on this year. But again, really want to emphasize that our main priority is, in fact, health and safety during this once-in-a-century set of challenges. It doesn't mean those other goals go by the wayside. It simply means we're zeroing all of our intellectual, emotional, and physical capacities to try to keep our communities safe. And that's just an honest answer.
Great, thank you for that. We have another one that's came in from our alumni and parents. So how's being the president of a university that also has a law school been different than your previous leadership role at Vassar?
It's a very generous question. Thank you. There were so many things that appealed to me about the Stetson University presidency, not the least of which was the fact that we had schools that were not just grounded in the liberal arts, like our School of Arts and Sciences, but that we also had a fabulous School of Music, a fabulous School of Business, and of course the College of Law over in Gulfport. I like the diversity of that portfolio very, very much. This is not at all to dismiss the value of my experiences at Vassar, which I adored and grew a tremendous amount, both professionally and personally, but it's a strictly an undergraduate institution with just 2,400 undergraduate students. We graduate maybe one master's student in chemistry like every 4 years or something like that. So it really is an undergraduate place. The other reason I found Stetson appealing was Stetson has a long and very well documented track record at bridging the gap between theory and practice. And what I mean by that is Stetson students have the opportunity to apply what it is they're learning in real world settings. A good chunk of my time as both a faculty member and administrator at Vassar was devoted to that kind of work, right? This is not at all to deny the profound value of a liberal arts education. I'm a product of a liberal arts education myself, having attended Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut. But rather it's to modernize the liberal arts. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that we want to have a strong grounding in the broad liberal arts, where students learn how to think critically, to question what it is, the content that they're receiving, et cetera. But we want to make that content and those experiences within the liberal arts or whatever school our students are in and make a difference in the world, right? And we also want to equip our students, regardless of what school they're in, with employability, right? So I think it's incumbent upon all of us, including those schools like Stetson, to make sure that the investments that families are making in this form of education do in fact have a return on investment down the road. I don't think we should be shy about that. The costs of higher education are escalating, and I think we need to be realistic about the fact that we need to provide internships. We need to provide career awareness, and that does not in any way diminish the value of the liberal arts. I could go on and on about that particular topic. I hope that's an adequate answer for now, but the fact that this is a university was very, very appealing to me as I contemplated the possibility of becoming a university president.
Well, we're certainly happy to have you. So thank you for that response. We have another one that's came in. So keep submitting your questions right in the question box. We'll move on to our next one though. What are the greatest strengths you've seen so far in Stetson's faculty and students?
Thank you. First of all, Stetson the saying, what is it? The world runs on Duncan, whatever the commercial is. Well, Stetson runs on people. Stetson runs on people, and that has been an endearing quality in my short few months here. In addition, Michelle Alexandre spoke about this earlier. I've been fond of describing Stetson in my early months here with the following words: scrappy, tenacious, resilient, and caring. And I mean that word scrappy in the most endearing way. What it means is that, we may not have every single resource that we thought we were going to have, like $16 million less, as I referred to earlier, but we're scrappy. We're not undaunted, right? We're going to continue to work. Yes, we have to be 6 feet apart. Yes, we have to wear masks. Yes, we have to be physically distant. Yes, we have some of our students that are going to be virtual. Some might even be in isolation because they unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19, but we're going to persevere. We're going to be tenacious. We're going to continue to move forward to allow Stetson education to move forward. So those are the strengths, I think, of this community. Again, scrappy, tenacious, caring, resilient, innovative. I think those are real strengths that are hard to measure, but they're very, very real here at Stetson. So in a nutshell, my instincts about this community as I went through the presidential search have absolutely been reaffirmed in my first few months here as your president.
Great, thank you. So we do have some fun ones that are coming in. So to get to know you a little bit better outside of the work business side of things. So we have a few questions. How is your family liking the transition? Have they made the transition yet? And how are they liking it, adjusting to DeLand? And then is your family just a family here with people, or do you have pets, or what does that look like?
Thank you for the generous question again. This is a lot of fun, and I thank you. No, my family is not yet with me in DeLand, and there's really two reasons why. One is the pandemic itself, and the other is my youngest daughter is finishing high school in New York, and it just didn't seem appropriate after much deliberation as a family to have her in the middle of her high school career have to make such a transition. So we are distanced at the moment. By the way, I have three daughters. One is 25, Emma. Emma is a second-year medical student at the Long Island School of Medicine at NYU. Julia is 23 and is a second-year science educator and sustainability coordinator at Greens Farms Academy in Westport, Connecticut. And Olivia is my youngest, who's still in high school. My wife, Kim, is a veterinarian, so I'll couple this with the pets question. Yes, we have a lot of pets. It varies in number from year to year, but given the field of work that my wife is engaged in, we often find rescues showing up at our house at various times of the year. The current count is 2 dogs, a severely visually impaired golden retriever who is the sweetest thing around. His name is Marco, a very active and athletic mixed breed who is a rescue from Puerto Rico. He's jet black and his name is Duke. He matches my youngest daughter's personality to a T. 2 outdoor cats, Mac and Millie, because I'm allergic, they can't be in the house. And 2 horses that are stabled off of our New York property because both my wife and my youngest daughter are avid equestrians. My wife more on the hunter pace side of things, and my daughter Olivia, a very assertive and risk-taking hunter jumper. She likes to go as high as she possibly can. So therein lies the family story at the moment. And I am delighted to say that one of the other upsides of this pandemic is the change in school calendar. So my daughter's school is actually going to end, much like Stetson is going to end this fall, right around Thanksgiving. So both my wife and youngest daughter are planning to spend a month and a half here after Thanksgiving. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Last thing I'll say on this topic, Becca, is that although that has been a difficult part of the transition, certainly for the family, because I'm a hands-on dad, et cetera, there's also been some unusual advantages in that I'm able to really work through, I don't want to say 24/7, I do go to sleep and I do have a chance to rest once in a while, but I've been able to fully immerse myself in the community because the family obligations have been a little bit more reasonable than they typically are.
Well, we look forward to meeting them all as a Hatter community, so thank you for sharing. We do have a question that came in here around College of Law. So we do have Dean Alexandre available if we'd like to pull her on. So how does the College of Law balance the demands of the pandemic and its obligations and needs to comply with ABA standards?
Thank you. That's a great question, and thank you for asking. As you know, we are very much focused on our national reputation and excellence. So we carefully plan with the larger Stetson community, and we also plan in tandem, lockstep with the ABA. So some of the plans that we made, like making first-year courses face-to-face, with limited accommodations for students who needed to be remote. They were because of these ABA standards. We have not changed our curriculum and we have not amended our curriculum. What would be fun for you to know about and to hug a law professor when you see them is that we have faculty member teaching 8 sections, for example, of criminal law. We have numerous faculty member, at least 5, teaching 150 students at a time in multiple sections. And we have particularly one faculty member teaching 100 students, for example, at the same time as 40 students remotely, all at the same time with the help of our dual delivery. And it is because of their value of the curriculum, and it did not want to shortchange the students. So we're lucky to have such generous faculty. So The ABA requested that all, and required that all law schools apply for a variance, and we did. So that's allowed us to provide a bit more remote and a bit more flexibility, slightly 30% attendance, but that variance is an exception. And that means that we are fully in compliance with ABA standard. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, Dean Alexandre. Again, we have 5 minutes or so left, so keep dropping in your questions. We do have another one that's came in. So what do you need most from alumni as you lead us into the next chapter of Stetson? What a great question.
It is a great question. And again, all of these questions have been very generous and helpful. So thank you. Please ask away. I guess I would respond to that this way, is that we really would love to have your continued engagement. We'd love to have your continued engagement, both with your ideas, with your thoughts, with your hopes and aspirations for Stetson as it moves forward. So that goes beyond our call for philanthropy. That means we need your expertise, we need your insights. And I personally value, again, 42,000 strong alumni can certainly be a huge part of my accelerated listening and learning tour. So I welcome your feedback, I welcome your suggestions, I welcome your guidance. I have pretty thick skin, so I also welcome your critiques. If you think that we've made a left turn somewhere when you should have made a right turn, I welcome those forms of feedback. So we're going to celebrate Stetson's 150th anniversary in 2033. That may seem like a long time away. And by the way, I know this word only because Vassar celebrated it. It's our sesquicentennial. And if anybody wants to try to spell that in the box over here on the right, you get an extra prize if you can spell it correctly in the box. Sesquicentennial, 150th anniversary. And I very much intend to be here. Now, I may be fortunate to be able to still be here that long, but the way I think about my presidential work is that I want to immerse myself in this community as deeply as I can. As you can tell, having spent 21 years at Vassar, I'm not one of these types of people that kind of bops around. I really am immersed. I like to immerse myself in a community as fully as I possibly can. So we need your engagement. We do, I won't be shy about it. We do need your philanthropy. We do need to get that alumni annual giving rate up. So if you've got Stetson colleagues and classmates and so on, please spread the word that we do need your support. Again, we did have to endure our campus with the $16 million reduction in budget. Our forecasting for the future, given this pandemic, in terms of enrollment, room and board, all those things that make this place run are still uncertain. So we do need your annual support. And so I'm not going to be shy about asking you not only to give, but to give as generously as you can, and also to make your giving contagious among your classmates and friends that care about Stetson. Something special is going on here for sure. And it's a good investment. I'm certainly investing my professional life here, and I hope you'll join me in investing your hard-earned dollars. And I know you have many competing demands for your philanthropic dollars, but that you will continue to stay engaged with Stetson. Alex Heron wins a prize for getting sesquicentennial correct. That is the correct spelling of sesquicentennial. Congratulations. You get a personal cup of coffee with the president outside. What's the name of the place? The Hatter?
Hat Rack.
Thank you, Hat Rack. Alex Heron, Hat Rack. Julie Hunter, you got it correct as well. You can join us for a free cup of coffee.
There we go. Quick rapid fire for you. Favorite color?
A deep blue.
Okay. Favorite letter in the alphabet?
I don't think I've ever been asked that question. I'm going to have to say R.
Okay. Favorite month of the year?
I'd have to say it's a tie between August and September. And the reason I say that, it is, as an educator, absolutely my favorite time of year when we're welcoming back new students. I say August or September because here in Florida, it's in August. In my prior life, it typically was in early September. but those are my two favorite months, as the anticipation on campus for a new, particularly when new students arrive. It's a buzz of adrenaline and a buzz of excitement. And frankly, there's anxiety that's palpable in the air, and you see so many caring people trying to welcome folks into the community. Those are my favorite months.
Okay. And favorite season to go with that then?
Yeah, I'd have to say late summer, early fall.
Okay. Favorite number? I know you played
7.
sports. 7, okay. And your favorite sport?
That I can't answer it has to be a tie for me.
Okay.
And by the way, I want to explain 7. I'm the last of 7 children, and the name of our small little dinghy that we used growing up was called the Lucky 7. So 7 is a big number in our family. I happen to be number 7 as well. What was the other question?
Favorite sport? You said it was a tie.
Oh yeah, it's a tie. It's a tie for me between basketball and baseball. Those are 2 sports that have been instrumental to me in my own learning throughout my life. I was fortunate enough to play both of those sports collegiately at Wesleyan University, and despite my age, I still try to play both of those, believe it or not, because they are such an important part of my life. By the way, my wife Kim played women's ice hockey and women's rugby in college. She has a much higher pain threshold than I have.
I would say so. So do you have a favorite sports franchise to go along with your sports question?
Well, I'm allowed to say that tonight because our community happens to be New York.
Okay.
The New York Yankees. The New York Yankees are my favorite sports franchise. And I know that's going to alienate some people in Hatter Nation, but perhaps not this crowd that's with us tonight.
There you go. And we did have one last question to round out the evening. What do you like to do for fun?
Interestingly, if this were not a COVID-19 pandemic, you would find me out either throwing a baseball around, playing catch, shooting hoops someplace in the backyard, especially with my kids. Love that. Love that. But right now, believe it or not, I'm spending the little free time I have. I've been spending decorating the president's house at 418 North Woodland Boulevard. So I am using parts of my brain that heretofore had been unused for most of my life. In our family, I happen to be the one that does the decorating. It's not my wife. She has zero interest in any of that. I do have to pass things by her, but I'm the one that runs the show on that.
Well, President Roelke, it's been a pleasure. Do you have any last parting words for our New York audience?
Well, if you'll indulge me, I'll just say something that I've been saying to our community throughout, which is something I said when I was introduced to the community back in November. Kindness not only matters, it enables us to listen, to engage with others unlike ourselves, and to consider paths we can forge together to make our community, in fact, the world, a better place. I would love those kinds of sentiments to get contagious. I certainly have felt that here tonight with your wonderful, generous questions. Go Hatters. Good night.